Hey everybody, welcome back to X-Plane 11. I am Bill, and I finally am a private pilot. Passed my private pilot Checkride, which was a whole ordeal, which I talked about in a previous video. I might link it below, but I wanted to go through the actual flight portion of the Checkride, recreate it, and debrief it a little bit. I'm going to try to be as thorough as I can without this droning on for longer than the flight actually was, but this is as much of a keepsake for me, my memory when it's fresh, as it is hopefully, something that maybe somebody watching down the road that's about to take their check ride might be able to watch and, answer some questions. So hopefully this doesn't drone on really long, because it was ultimately a very fun flight. I did enjoy it when it was over, but it was extremely, extremely stressful. I'm going to refer to a couple of things off screen. I have like a written checklist of everything that we did, as well as the Flight Radar 24 track. This is the GoPro, or sorry, the 4Flight trace, and the downside to this one is right around here. You can see right in this right angle right there is when we turned off georeferencing to do hood work with no georeferencing on 4Flight. So this is not, although this is from the flight, this is not a complete, you can see that line right there. This is not a complete trace of the actual flight, because we turned off the location georeferencing on 4Flight. So I'm going to kind of refer to this a little bit, kind of refer to something off screen, and go through everything that we did on the check ride. If there's something that needs a little bit more explanation, or if we get a question in the chat that might need a little bit more in-depth reflection, I can pause it, which I really would have loved to have on the day, but we have it now, so we can drill down into stuff if we need to. But I'm excited to go through this because it was, like I said, very stressful, but a fun flight. And hopefully if you do watch any amount of this video, you'll see kind of why it was fun, because it is just everything back to back. This examiner was very thorough, very fair, nice, friendly, great, but we did everything. So we're on PilotEdge. We're at John Wayne. This is where we started up roughly in the real plane. And I had already done the pre-flight and brief before the day of the flight. Again, refer to the other video for that whole nightmarish explanation. And we started basically in the plane, starting it up. Brings me to my first point, actually starting the plane. So let's get into the rep pack here. On the checklist and on this plane, on the rep pack plane, it likes 3 seconds of prime with the electric fuel pump on. And I usually, in the simulator, every time will count to 3. And the real plane does not need that much. And I actually flooded it, and it took 3 times to start. I was sweating through my shirt. Brad said when the plane finally did fire up, a big puff of black smoke came out. In the debrief, the examiner brought up the starting procedure, and he said he was looking at something else and wasn't really paying attention to how long I had the primer on. And he said what really helps is to count to 3. I talked about that with him later and told him that, I had in fact counted to 3, and it was flooded. So on the follow-up flight, I did it for like a half a second, and it worked fine for this plane. About 3 is what my plane liked. Yeah, every plane is different on the startup procedure, and I was kind of used to going 1, 2, 3 in the simulator, and I kind of in the mode of doing everything as perfect as possible in the check ride. I did it for too long, and it had trouble starting. So that is just right off the bat it was already exciting. So the checklist for the run up and the startup procedure and everything is we're gonna go really quick on this. Mine is 3 to 5, but I do the same thing, 3 seconds only. Dave, is yours fuel injected or carbureted? Because those are two different things. I think the carbureted ones like a little bit more. It is fuel injected. Okay. Yeah, the fuel injected ones are notoriously difficult to start, apparently, compared to the carbureted ones. I have not actually flown a carbureted 172. So here's the fuel pump. I'm gonna do it for 3 here, and you're basically looking for the fuel flow. Hey, let's get some frames, please. Looking for that fuel flow to just kind of stabilize. It's not really that great in the sim, but here we go. 1, 2, 3. You can kind of see that needle come up a little bit. Okay, so now it is primed. We got the throttle cracked. Mixture, or excuse me, fuel selector is good there. Okay, let's clear prop. I'm rushing through this part. Obviously, you want to be a little bit more diligent on your pre-engine start checklist, but okay. Your needle is digital. Yeah. Most of the time, I don't prime enough, and you just pump fuel. Oh, bump the fuel pump for like half a second, and it starts up. Yeah. No fuel pump on a hot start. Yeah, you want to just turn it on and off just to make sure that the fuel pump does still work, though. But yeah, you don't want to let it go for too long. All right, let's get avionics coming on. And
John Wayne grounds, that's the 5327 Golf, ready to taxi.
5327 Golf, John Wayne ground, runway 20 left, taxi via Alpha Charlie Kilo.
We know that voice.
20 left by Alpha Charlie Kilo, 27 Golf.
Okay.
Orange County.
John Wayne Airport, ATC information Golf, 0053 Zulu, wind 200 at Niner, visibility 10, 20,000 scattered, temperature 21, dew point 13, altimeter 3002, arriving and departing runways 20 left, 20 right, visual approaches in use. VFR departures, contact, clearance, delivery, advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following
Loading
is
in the
requested,
scenery there.
read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions.
Okay.
Advise on initial contact. You have information Golf.
All right. Part of the Checkride is obviously a cross-country flight. And the cross-country flight that I had was to Paso Robles. So I'm going to put this onto the map here because this was the first part of the Checkride. Was
Hey, bird, whoa, buddy.
Oh, wow. DDP for life. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs to TechSeb, Jellyfish.
Buddy.
I am terrible at Roman numerals, so I'll call you Lexiv, Ominous Luck, and B7. DDP, thank you so much for that, man. That is very nice of you. Isn't that 64? I don't know. I have not taken the time to commit any of that to memory. 64. Okay.
Buddy.
I will try to remember that and not call you Lexiv. I might call you Lexiv though. Just be aware.
Hey, bird. Whoa, buddy.
Yeah, the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is the only reason why anyone knows any Roman numerals, I think. That's really funny. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, DDP. Okay, so I sent the flight plan to the panel, the GPS. I didn't actually input it in there. The first part of this is timing to the first waypoint, and I had 6 minutes was my time for the waypoint, and I had the stopwatch here. It may actually still be going from, are you kidding me? It has been 220 hours, 19 minutes, 53 seconds since I started my check ride. That is absolute gold. Are you kidding me? I never stopped it. It just kept going. Well, I guess I don't want to touch that, so we'll just pretend we'll just use the counting. I'm gonna let that go for a while. That is really funny. I don't even want to touch it. So anyway, once you get cleared to take off, you start the timer to reach that 6 minute waypoint. So we'll do that, or at least keep an eye on that. But for now, we're gonna go to clearance and delivery, and what I'm gonna do is exactly how I did it in the check ride. We knew that we were mocking the flight to Paso Robles, but we were, and I was told we're gonna in the pre-flight brief, we're gonna fly to the Long Beach practice area. We're gonna have a simulated failure, and we're not gonna go up to the actual cruise altitude, which was 6,500. We're gonna go to 3,500. I almost forgot to start my timer turning crosswind. I was like, fuck, I didn't start it, and added a minute. Ended up being bang on. He actually complimented me on starting the timer. He said most people forget to start the timer, and I was sweating every bit of everything, and luckily started the timer. So we're gonna have our 2-something-0 heading at 2,400 is our altitude. Departure frequency is going to be 28.1, and we're going to squawk something. Let's see what Goldsy gives us. John Wayne clearance. Good evening, Skyhawk 53176. Information Gulf Lake flight following to the Long Beach practice area at 3,500.
Well, it was a good evening.
Oh, go away.
How you doing, Bill? Congrats.
Thank you very much, Goldsy. Thank you. You are the best.
That's 5 now.
Oh, go away.
Goldsy has congratulated me on 5 separate locations, I guess. It's all full circle now, man.
Indeed. The Orange or the Mesa departure work better for you?
The Mesa departure, please.
3176, flighting 240, maintain VFR at or below 2,400. Departure frequency 128.1, squawk 2413.
2413, this is Chicken Scratch. On departure, that's right heading 240 at or below 2,400. Departure frequency 128.1, squawking 2413, Skyhawk 53176.
53176, read that, correct.
For a second, I thought he was just not giving you the departure clearance. It's like, just hanging out. Like, Goldsy, did you remember that I asked for a departure? No, Goldsy is, I am
Karen, thank you very
happy
much for
to
your
say
help.
my
Appreciate your
absolute
service.
favorite.
I can see it's a very busy
The very
line
first
today.
voice that I ever heard on PilotEdge.
Sir Mike's here, no problem. Take care.
And I flew with Goldsy my
Thanks.
first, it was a long time before I flew with anybody else besides Goldsy. So he has a special place in my heart. Goldsy may have to get his own podcast going. I need to have Goldsy on my podcast that has been on a hiatus, waiting for my private license to be finished. All right, 240 at or below 2,400 there. Departure frequency is 28.1, which we'll do in a minute, and squawking 2413. Okay. I can remember before you started lessons.
John
That was
Wayne
a
Tower,
while.
Cessna
Do you really, Adone?
5327
That's crazy,
Golf
man.
At Kilo, ready for
Yeah,
departure
below
on the
minimums.
I-10.
I stopped doing
5327 Golf, John Wayne Tower,
angle of the talk,
Kilo, clear for takeoff.
prepping
Clear for
for
takeoff, 20 left,
check ride. That's how
5327 Golf.
long of an ordeal it's been. Okay, let's get moving here. John Wayne Ground, Skyhawk 53176, taxi to tower run up. I think I may have stepped on him. I caught a couple of streams when you were on P, but you weren't completely sure what was going on. That sounds about right. No, you're right, Ryan. We got some PilotEdge traffic. I'll tell you a quick difference between PilotEdge and the real John Wayne here in a second. John Wayne Ground, Skyhawk 53176, ACI West, taxi tower run up. Yeah, Finbar, you were definitely an early adopter. I all of a sudden don't hear any radio calls. That's kind of weird. Yeah, I know, Rep Pack, that you want me at 1,000 RPMs, but I put you at 1,000 RPMs and you keep going down to 700. Radio in the plane went wrong. Set wrong compared to your panel. No, I don't think so. Yeah, that's right. John Wayne Ground, Skyhawk 53176, ACI West, taxi tower run up. It's 20. It was 20.8. You just couldn't see it.
Contact circuit departure.
Oh, voice change. That's why. Okay.
5327 Golf over to departure.
Yep. Just caught it at the worst time.
Air 53176, John Wayne Grounds. I'll go ahead and give you a taxi to the air runway, and then you can just stop at the run up. Runway 20 right, taxi V, Bravo Kilo.
Bravo Kilo 20 right, and we'll stop over at tower run up, Skyhawk 53176. Okay, it's clear to the left, clear to the right. So one thing, and Ryan kind of...
5327 Golf, SoCal departure, radar contact.
We'll turn the radios down. This is part of...
Good night, Air Bravo Kilo, contact SoCal approach 119.6.
This is part of audio gate here. Let me know how that sounds. So one thing that's different about PilotEdge versus the real John Wayne, and I don't know how it is with other airports, because it's kind of a I don't really want to say specific thing to one airport because I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. There are 4 different run-up areas at John Wayne. But if you're a piston airplane getting your initial taxi, you have to say 3 things: who you are, where you are, like Ryan brought up, and taxi. That's it. You don't have to tell them where you want to taxi. You just say Skyhawk 53176, ACI West, taxi. That's it. They send you to the run up.
If she's coming off, you can expect that. I just have to wait till you're at an altitude I can change.
She's a little bit too quiet, but that is better, I think. Okay. Very quick run up here. For the love of God, don't say taxi to the active. They won't send you to the inactive. Yeah, that is a bad one. Taxi to the active is a bad one. But you just say taxi. And PilotEdge, because it's a simulator and nobody does run-ups in the simulator, except for my crazy ass, they will just taxi you to the runway. So because of that, I was always asking John Wayne Tower for taxi to whatever run-up. Brad told me you don't have to say that. You can just say taxi, and they're going to send you to the run-up. So that is that's a good thing to know. I don't know how that
3176 radio
compares. What was that? I was just turning up the radio.
San Luis Regional Cessna 739 Whiskey Fox radio check.
739 Whiskey Fox, loud and clear. How me?
Loud and clear.
Gold's
It is for
back.
Cat 2.
I feel like Marcus either had a clip of that or just complained about it a lot.
For 739 Whiskey Fox.
Oh, yeah, he
straight in
complained about
runway
it a
29,
lot.
Report a 3-mile final.
Okay. So our
With
first
information
waypoint
alpha.
is Huntington Beach Pier.
For 53176, John Wayne Ground. Can you hear me now?
I got you now, John Wayne Ground, Skyhawk 53176.
I was having an odd communication issue there for a minute. We're good now, though.
Awesome, sounds good. John Wayne Ground, Skyhawk 53176, continue.
53176, continue to runway 20 right via Bravo and Kilo.
Bravo Kilo 20 right, Skyhawk 53176. All right, so that makes sense. So Goldsy had an audio issue. Geneva jumped in. Goldsy's back. Everything is good in the world. Okay. I apologize for this taking longer than I thought it was going to, this portion of it. We'll get back to the Checkride stuff here very soon. So he liked to see the taxiway diagram, that I had the taxiway diagram out. So on ForeFlight, I did have the diagram out, which is super overkill when it's the taxiways that you've been on a million times. He had me, point out how I knew what taxiway I was on, specifically at Long Beach. Any traffic, please advise. So I did have the taxiway diagram out, and I had pre-highlighted where I thought I was going to be taxiing. Kind of overkill. Didn't seem to mind it too much, but that's what I did plan. Luckily, this examiner was all about ForeFlight, so there was no problem.
Approaching runway 20 right.
With having the diagram out on ForeFlight. So he even said, he goes, yeah, I'm not going to fail your iPad. That's like throwing your charts out the window. So thank God. Goldsy, thank you. So that's Facebook, Instagram, Discord, my Discord, PilotEdge Discord, over the radio, on comm on PilotEdge, and Twitch chat. There's 6. Goldsy, I freaking love you, dude. All right, 26.8 is the tower, and then 28.1 is our departure frequency. Okay. And now we're going to get our clearance, and I'm going to start my timer. John Wayne Tower, Skyhawk 53176, holding short 20 right at Kilo.
53176, John Wayne Tower, the wind 210 at 6, runway 20 right at a kilogram, clear for takeoff.
20 right at Kilo, clear for takeoff, Skyhawk 53176. So now I go to my stopwatch, I start it, we'll just call it 34 by the time I actually get off the ground. So there's 34, and we'll go back here. We go lights, camera, which is interesting when it's all digital, and action mixtures full in. Clear to the left, clear to the right. At this point, the examiner hasn't said much. There was some stuff that we talked about in the run-up area. About, what would you do if the mags dropped 700 RPM? What are you looking for on the idle check? And I told him, if you pull out on a 172, if you pull the throttle all the way out and get the RPMs below 650, it clicks off the alternator. So I'm looking to see if the alternator is actually working, and there's a drop. The ammeter is showing discharge. Airspeed is alive, and we are up. The real John Wayne on the Mesa departure is going to give you a 220 heading.
53176, radar contact, say altitude.
Climbing through 300, Skyhawk 53176.
Roger.
Birds.
So you're faced a little bit more directly towards, or a little bit left of Huntington Beach Pier, on the 220 heading, and this is going to get us pretty much directly to Huntington Beach. So we'll see how close we can actually get. Try to hold, and I was looking at this like a hawk. 73 knots is what I had calculated all my times for. This deck angle looks a little bit shallow compared to what it was in the real plane for whatever reason. This part I might not look at chat a whole lot, but so right here in the climb out, not much talking. He said, you know, what's your first waypoint? And you know, I said Huntington Beach Pier. He goes, okay, let me know when you're over your first waypoint and what the time is. He goes, and what's your time? I said 6 minutes. We're going to be at the Huntington Beach Pier at 6 minutes. And we took off at 34, so that should be perfectly at 40 minutes. If I can keep the climb rate correct here. ACS standards on the first waypoint on the time is 2 minutes.
Bye, Bill.
SoCal departure, Skyhawk 53176. Bye, Goldsy. SoCal approach, Skyhawk 53176, 2100 restricted, 2400.
Aircraft 3176, I got departure, thank you. Maintain appropriate VFR altitude.
VFR altitudes, Skyhawk 53176. So we're going to continue to climb out. Getting a little fast there. So 3,500 is our ultimate cruise altitude. The ACS standards, when you look at them on paper, I found them to be kind of intimidating. I don't know what the rest of you guys felt like when you actually are looking at the standards. It's intimidating when you see like plus or minus 10 knots. You can kind of like, oh man, it's pretty tight. The reality is it's not that bad. Yeah, and below minimums, that's totally fine. That's totally fine to do if you're, you know, it keeps you kind of on it. Sorry, Bill, if you can't check Discord PM. Oh, check Discord PM whenever you can. I will. Thank you. It's a beautiful day for flying tomorrow, so that means an early night for me. Copy the risk. All right, we're coming up to Huntington Beach Pier. That view is just exactly perfect. Just perfect. It's crazy. About the sky textures you were talking about. Oh yeah, I do. Absolutely. Yeah. So here is Huntington Beach Pier. We're getting close. There's 3,500. We're gonna go up more than that. What did we say we were gonna go up to?
Number 176, resume navigation.
Oh, navigation, Skyhawk 53176. Okay, so let's just say we're at Huntington Beach Pier. We're pretty close. Let's just peek at what it's at. So 20 seconds early, and we're not quite there. So that would be well within standards, and we're not there yet. So by the time we actually get directly over the pier, it'll probably be exactly 6 minutes. Still kind of a little bit weird. I was 12 seconds off. I had 6 minutes and 12 seconds directly over Huntington Beach Pier. So at that point, he was like, "Okay, you're good." So we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Yeah, it's 2 minutes, plus or minus 2 minutes, which is just crazy. So there is over Huntington Beach Pier. We're a little bit, we're 20 seconds. We're plus 20 on there. That's pretty good. Thank you very much, Lewis. Is the vid on YouTube yet? Yeah, the video is up on YouTube. Yeah. Okay, so the next, man, did we go up to 4,500? I think we went up to 4,500. That's probably why I was 20 seconds ahead. Let's go. Let's just keep climbing up to 4,000.
So 1600 Bravo Kilo, remain outside Bravo airspace for now, and report.
So at this point, we're climbing. Yeah, it was 4,500. So we're climbing up. We're heading west, so it's going to be evens. We're climbing up, and he's asking me a couple of questions here or there. What's VY, blah blah blah, right? He then asks, right about 4,200, 4,300. He goes, "Okay, what's your next waypoint?" And it's a GPS waypoint that I had chosen because we're on the coastal route. And I look at and I go, "Oh, it's Wilma." He goes, "Okay, and how are you navigating there?" And I said, "Well, I've got it in the GPS because I had it in the GPS. I can see it's about where Queen Mary is, which is just right over there, and I've got it on 4Flight. On top of that, I have the nav log that's telling me that I need to be at a heading of, I think it was like 279 or something with the current winds. And if you can see down here on the track, it's saying 285 right now. So, whatever the winds we're doing, we're compensating for that. I'm pretty sure it was like 279. So those were my three or four methods of getting to that first waypoint. Quasar, 19-month streak. That doesn't even seem like it's humanly possible. Thank you so much, Quasar. I cannot tell you how much that means. And thank you, Quasar. That's super cool. Okay, let me rewind a little bit. This would have added to the run up. I had actually pre-input the what do you call it? The LAX radial for the coastal route, which is right here, and it's the 132 radial, and I wanted the reciprocal of the 132 radial. And I actually did this in the plane. I went 132 is right there. 123 I meant is right there. You just look at the reciprocal, you're a little bit past 30. I mean, it's like that kind of mindless. You don't have to really even know math that well. So there's the radial for the coastal route. I had that in there ready to go. There we go. So I've got VOR for the coastal route. I've got GPS for the waypoint. I've got 4Flight track, and I've got my nav log, which I've already prepared.
I understand your destination is Long Beach. The airport is off your 2 o'clock, roughly 7 miles, reporting back.
We've got the airport in sight. We're actually going to be in the Long Beach practice area. We're going to do a couple orbits over the harbor and then have a pre-planned divert to Long Beach. We'll let you know when we've got the ATIS and we're heading there, Skyhawk 5176.
Sir, 17 Roger, did you want to continue flight following?
Affirmative. Yeah, we're going to continue with flight following through that orbit, and then we'll coordinate with you once we've got the ATIS and our planned diversion.
Sounds good.
So I kind of as I'm going through this, I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. cruise checklist. I'm leaning it out. He's asking, how do you lean properly? I'm pulling back the mixture until RPMs go down, and then I'm pushing it back up. I had actually set, this is almost exactly where the EGT was, somewhere like right in that area, and I said I'm just going to be a little bit rich of peak. So he goes, okay. He reaches over and at this point says, your ammeter light just went off. I'm going to do this. So the alternator, I just turned off the alternator. We're going to pretend that is on, but we're getting the same light. So this is what we're getting. Low voltage light, we're showing a discharge on the ammeter, right? So he walks me through that and he says, okay, you got the ammeter light on. I'm going to take this off. You got the ammeter light on and you're showing a discharge. What do you do? I said, well, right away that sounds like it's an alternator failure, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the checklist. So I reach down to my my POH. I had a tip off that alternator failure was going to happen. Like you guys are saying, it's pretty common failure to have. So we're in the middle of an alternator failure right here. Obviously, I'm flying the plane, holding it and keeping it in this orbit. So I'm gonna kind of cheat with this autopilot just so I'm able to do all this multitasking here. So I pull out the checklist and I look here. I go, okay, avionics master switch off, and I mimic doing all that. So we got avionics master switch off, alternator circuit breaker check in, and then we're going to turn on the master switch is checked on, voltage annunciator check off, and then avionics master switch is back on. Okay, so that's like the reset your systems to see if the alternator kicks back on, right? Obviously we have the alternator turned off in this case, actually, so the alternator is actually off. So he says, okay, so now what? I go, all right, well, alternator off, non-essential radio equipment off, and then flight terminate as soon as practical. Okay, Bill, how long do you think so what is that indicating? I said, well, the alternator is not supplying power to the plane, so the battery is supplying the charge to the aircraft and is discharging. Okay, how long do you think we have on the battery? I said, we got about 30 minutes before we run out of batteries. He goes, okay, that's good. I'm going to start a 30-minute timer right now. And I said, awesome. But see if I taught memory items first, then back with a checklist. The memory items on a 172 are the bold items, and on the alternator failure, nothing is bold, so those are not actual memory items in terms of how the checklist is set up. Engine, fire and stuff, the bold stuff are memory items, so you would want to know those by memory, but the non-bolded stuff are not actually memory items. So anyway, he says, okay, so what are you gonna do? I said, well, we're gonna divert. He's like, all right, where are we gonna divert? This is what I said to him. We've got 30 minutes of battery life left. We're within 30 minutes of about 24 airports. And he says, we can't go back to John Wayne. He briefed that before. He goes, we're gonna have an engine. We're gonna have an emergency. Can't go back to John Wayne. Your PIC, you pick where we go. So we had kind of prepped that we're going to divert to Long Beach. So I kind of walked through that thought process. I said, well, Torrance is right over here. That's pretty close, but Long Beach is right there, and I happen to know that Long Beach has a lot of good maintenance guys. Like there's a lot of good shops there. It's even closer. It's easier. It's going to be a better situation for us. He goes, okay, cool. Let's go to Long Beach. So I go into ForeFlight. I go That's not Long Beach. I go to ForeFlight.
27 Golf, turn left, heading 070.
I go here, and I say direct to.
Destination ATIS is 127.75.
Thank you so much, ForeFlight. 127.75. So I went to 27.75, like that, and like this is exactly how ForeFlight worked, just like this.
Visual approach is in use. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Alpha.
Okay, we have information Alpha. Let's pretend we listen to the whole thing. I've got Alpha. I'm looking here. We're going Long Beach Tower. I've got 19.4 in there, so I'm gonna pre-select 19.4, and then we're gonna tell SoCal what we're doing. I'm gonna turn off autopilot here. SoCal approach, Skyhawk 53176. We have information Alpha at Long Beach. We're inbound for a full stop taxi back.
No, 176, you can make that.
And SoCal, we'd like to request 26 left for the landing as well, Skyhawk 53176.
I had to take off between like my initial training and when I actually reinitiated, which honestly consisted of 4 sessions with Peter, and he signed me off. So, and before that, the only thing I really covered was East and Denver, or Albuquerque and Denver, that's all. So, yeah, it kind of says for itself. But anyway, what I did is I pretty much took the SOPs and made my own PDF with bookmarks to each RTAC and TRACON. So, and then basically
Geneva.
the real world SOPs where it's the page is the sector everything is going from, or the aircraft is going from, and everything on the table is the frequency they're going to. So you're always leading. You're looking at the sector they're leading, basically. But that was a lifesaver, because it was like
Geneva, your mic is on.
maybe 2 or 3 clicks and half a scroll, as opposed to click and then a scroll 100 times.
I'm gonna ident.
Skyhawk 176, appears you're identing. You don't want to ident unless ATC requests it.
Yeah, Geneva, your mic was on that whole time.
I'll throw him an ident too.
Long Beach Airport is up here, 9 o'clock, 4.5 miles reported.
Hey, we have Long Beach Airport in sight, Skyhawk 53176.
Skyhawk 176, roger. Squawk VFR, contact Long Beach Tower, 119.3.
Squawking VFR 119.3. We've got 0.4, 176.
And 176, you're correct, 119.3.
All right, 119.4, Skyhawk 53176. Okay, there we go.
That's XL 291, we're at taxi Lima.
Okay, so here's Long Beach.
292. Sorry, you're ready for push, you're ready for taxi.
Oh, there's the hill.
So 292, roger, runway 15, taxi via Alpha, across runway 26.
15 via Alpha, clear across 26, XL 292, thanks.
Long Beach Tower, good evening. Skyhawk 53176 with information Alpha inbound Signal Peak full stop taxi back. Signal Hill is what I meant.
Roger, 176, I knew what you meant. Enter let's make it challenging. On enter left down, runway 26 left.
All right, left downwind 26 left, Skyhawk 53176. All right, he actually asked me, he goes, how long is it going to take us to get to Long Beach? And I did the little, pinch guy when we were 8 miles out, and I couldn't read exactly what it said because of the glare. I couldn't see that it said 2 minutes. So what I did is I went, okay, we're 8 miles out, we're doing 2 miles a minute, it's going to take us about 5 minutes to get there. He was like, okay, sounds good. I had the volume turned down. I didn't even notice.
We're 53176, runway 26 left. Clear to land, wind 2908.
Clear to land at 26 left, Skyhawk 53176. He then asked me what the pattern altitude is at Long Beach. I said 1060. I had actually turned off the map and just went right here. When you're VFR and you've got ForeFlight handy and you can see the airport, there is no reason to have the map up. Have the information that you need handy. It's way more useful, I think, than having the map. But anyway, I guess, like, unless you have, you know, ADSB traffic on the actual iPad, then I guess there's more of a use there. So we're beam the numbers and we're gonna start descending. We got pushed way out because of traffic. Went through my checklist. So we got mixture both, cutoff in, mixture, or selector both, cutoff in, mixture in, throttle. We've got all of our lights on, master mags, and we don't have the alternator on because of our failure. We've got first notch of flaps in. Our PE controllers must have IRL experience. No, they don't. It's a very, very different skill set than the real world controllers, and I think, and it's not because Goldsy is listening, but I think in a lot of ways what they do is a great deal harder than the real controllers. They have to manage
Short final runway 26 left.
43 airports. Okay, we're going way too fast.
500.
Thank you, Repack. Keep the nose up and just sink.
Burbank Tower, good evening. It's XL29215. We are ready to go.
XL292 Burbank Tower, runway 15, clear for takeoff.
My landing into Long Beach was
XL292.
pretty good, actually. I think this one will probably not be as good as the real landing was, but
Vegas Translary, good evening. Delta 343, looking for IFR to Phoenix.
if I can get it before the 1,000-foot markers, that would be delightful. Nice little short field. Damn, that was really short.
Whoa!
I didn't even.
Hello.
Found the ground. I didn't even hit the. I have not touched the brakes.
343, loud clear.
No brakes.
Los Angeles Translary, Delta 343.
No brakes. That's awesome. Okay, so now we're off here. Let's see which. We're on Foxtrot 3. Okay, this is exactly where I pulled off before, and I saw the sign. Long Beach Tower, Skyhawk 53176, clear of 26 left at Foxtrot 3, taxi back.
53176, runway 26 left, taxi via Foxtrot Delta.
Foxtrot Delta 26 left, Skyhawk 53176.
Delta 343, clear to the Phoenix Airport, Cowboy 8, departure, then a file, climb via the SIDS, clock 6751.
I was, Ryan, I was way too high on that base leg, so I was pitched up as much as I can and just slipped it down.
Delta 343, read back.
I did not want to have to go around and do this when I'm trying to recreate this Checkride, but this stupid freaking plane does not want to slow down.
XL292, connect SoCal departure.
50 knots in the real plane is like super happy over the numbers. 50 knots, it would be super fine. What is the PPL oral like? We don't have you don't have that in Australia. Well, consider yourself lucky because it is an interrogation that is not super fun. Just gonna make sure that my scenery is telling me the right spot.
Clearance XL 779.
Okay.
IFR Las Vegas.
So we pulled off to the side. He said just pull off to the right side of the taxiway, and we'll get, take as long as you need to get ready to go.
XL 779, London clearance. Good evening, clear to Las Vegas Airport, couple 6.
If you want an idea of the PPL oral exam and choose
filed.
the video.
Climb by Pacific 718 15,000. Departure frequency 119.6. Squawk 5.
Oh, that video is pretty hilarious. Okay, I have to use the restroom so bad. So
Clearance delivery. Experimental 517 Papa Charlie, type RV-10s, Lamp Golf. Request flight following to Fullerton via El Monte at 3500 with Lima for Cat 9 rating.
Get their RPMs. Okay, I have to go to the bathroom really bad. I'll be right back. The brakes are on, right?
Over 517 Papa Charlie, Burbank clearance departure frequency
that is not
134.2, squawk 1660.
Does not look good. Okay. See, below minimums, this is what happens when I had to get a refill.
134.2 departure, 517 Papa Charlie.
7 Papa Charlie, reback correct.
Austin's ground XL 673. Information kilo ready for taxi.
XL 673, Palm Springs ground runway 31 left, taxi Whiskey Alpha.
31 left via Whiskey Alpha, XL 673.
Lindbergh ground, this is November 169, Bravo Kilo, clear of 27 on Bravo 5.
November 169, Bravo Kilo, roger, ramp via Bravo, and remain this frequency.
Ramp via Bravo and remain on this frequency, November 169 Bravo.
Alright, so at this, and thankfully I was tactically dehydrated, so I didn't have that problem in the plane of having to go to the bathroom. That would have been really pretty embarrassing. Yeah, oh, good. Thank you. Okay, we'll get the alternator back on. Thank you, Ryan.
West, ready to taxi.
All right, so at this point, I've taken off. I've nailed my first waypoint. I answered some questions in climb, talked about leaning, talked about navigation. We had an alternator failure, which I diagnosed, went through the checklist. I had a diversion to an unplanned airport. I used, my, I sent this to the panel as well. So when I went direct to Long Beach, I actually sent it to the Garmin GNX 375. So it was showing up on the GPS as well, which is really nice. So once come into Long Beach, I had, Brad and I had been there recently, so I was super comfortable landing on 26 left, familiar with it. It was a piece of cake. We taxied back just like we did right now, and he says, take a minute. We're going to go to the practice area and do some maneuvers.
4471 November, El Monte Tower, good evening, enter left base, runway 19er, you're clear to land.
I don't know why that won't just stay. Here's that pattern into Long Beach. There's the very, very extended downwind, and the takeoff going to the Long Beach practice area where there was a lot of traffic. I'll kind of mimic roughly where we were, but essentially from now on I'm going to just go through the maneuvers that we went through kind of in order and talk about them as we go. So we wanted flight following to the practice area, which I coordinated with ground when we were on ground with Long Beach. So we're going to do that with Tower since we're still with Tower.
Good evening, runway 24, clear to land, wind 240 at 4.
Clear to land, runway 2453, 27 golf.
Oh, F. I hit the brakes. We're going to pretend like that didn't happen. My left rudder pedal doesn't have the spring. So if you touch anything, when the brake is set, the pedal goes down and it releases the parking brake. So that is not the first time that's happened. Long Beach Tower, Skyhawk 53176. We'd like to depart to the Long Beach practice area with flight following if able.
53176, departure frequency 128.1, squawk 6476.
6476. Departure frequency 128.1, squawking 6476, Skyhawk 53176.
53176, readback is correct. On course approved. Runway 26 left. Clear for takeoff. Wind 290
Clear for takeoff 26 left. On course approved. Skyhawk 53176. They want us to go to the river. By the way, we got lights, camera in action. Left turn out at the river. We were going to go up to 2,500. Was our altitude.
Number 517 Papa Charlie, Burbank Tower. Proceed on course southeastbound. Maintain VFR at or below 2,500 to advise. Runway clear for takeoff.
Uh-oh. Who is that? Who's joining us? A Long W? Did I get that right? Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome aboard. That was the worst centerline takeoff. Okay. So here it was just a normal. I blew it already. I freaking blew it already. We did a soft field takeoff. We did a soft field takeoff out of Long Beach. It goes, pretend as soon as we hit the runway that it's magically a grass strip, and give me a soft field takeoff. So pull, full back on the yoke, 10 degrees of flaps. VX. Nose down, VY, flaps up, climb out.
5 tree 176, connect, SoCal departure.
SoCal departure, Skyhawk 53176.
Circuit departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 13,000.
SoCal, Skyhawk 53176. 1,100 climbing 2,500.
53176, clear departure, radar contact, maintain appropriate VFR altitude.
Appropriate VFR altitude, Skyhawk 53176. Here's the river. I don't know if that's showing up on air server or not. Doesn't look like it is. There it goes. Okay. Yeah. So there's that left turn over the river, which we're just coming up to.
There's 517 Papa Charlie, circuit departure, maintain appropriate VFR altitude, Burbank altimeter 3003.
So there's the river. Turning in on it. Climbing up at VY, just maintain 73. There's Long Beach off the left. Climbing up to 2,500.
Contact Los Angeles Center, 126.35.
All right, now these maneuvers are a pain in the ass in the simulator in X-Plane.
XL 673 Los Angeles Center, when able to drag 29
I'm gonna try to follow the trace as best as I can, but we're cruising out here at this point, and he's like, okay, so we're going out to the practice area. He says right when we get over the breakwater, which you can just see out there, he says that's when we can start getting ready for the maneuver. So once you get to the breakwater, we'll consider that kind of being in the practice area, and you can start clearing the area at that point. The only special endorsement in the U.S. for PPL is tail wheel. I mean, high speed, complex, high performance are add-ons, and tail wheel is not its own chapter.
Ready, maintain appropriate V for altitude.
Yeah, that's a sign off. Hopefully if I am really lucky, I'll be able to get my tail wheel in a decathlon. Maybe. Like, there's a possibility. Do you plan on getting your CPL? Not really, no. I might end up getting it, but I don't think so. Get the tail wheel and spin endorsement. It's a like 200-hour decathlon, 200-300 hours maybe. Like, it's freaking dialed in. Oh my god. My dad's the first plane my dad owned was a tail wheel, and he loved it. So if I have the opportunity, I will absolutely get that endorsement. Not that I have experience with anything else, but it's the best. Carbon Cub? No, definitely not. You want a 170B? Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, my dad's first plane was a 140. I have a friend who's got a 170 at John Wayne, and that plane is beautiful. Okay, so we're clearing turn here. We're clearing to the right. I'm following this. I'm trying to match exactly what I'm doing here. I mean, those Carbon Cubs are awesome, for sure. Mine is not beautiful. Well, it's yours, so yes, it is actually. His has a new paint job, Art Deco stuff. The NX Cub, it looks goofy as hell. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's fine. Tri-Pacer. All right, so out here we're gonna go. Okay, so this is what he said. He goes, once the area is clear, we're gonna do some steep turns. And let me know when you're ready. So I clear to the right a little bit. I go, that looks good. Clear to the left. I'm following this trace right here, so I'm trying to match this as closely as I can to exactly where we were. All right, so now I'm moving to the right here, which is right on this area right there. And I go, okay, and I'm like kind of nervous at this point. Like, hey, here comes some maneuvers. Let's see how this goes. The GI 275 auto centers your heading bug, which is super helpful. So let's say 060. Oh man, that thing processed like crazy. That looks about that. So let's go 1150. Do I have any turboprops in X-Plane? Not yet, no, but I will be getting a King Air. Okay, so first is, this is hilarious. Steep turn to the right. Are you ready? Here we go. Steep turn to the right. We're coming right. Here we go, examiner. We're coming right. We're coming right. I'm not joking with this, okay? We're coming right. Come around. Skyhawk 53176, traffic 3 o'clock, 2 miles in your direction. I look over, there's a plane right there coming up at us. I go, I'm bailing. He's like, what? I go, I'm aborting. He's like, why? He's like, there's a guy right behind, like that was just about going under me. I don't like that at all. He goes, okay. Excuse my altitude. So the first one I do, the first steep turn I abort. So he goes, okay, just get further down, like just get out of here. There were a couple of planes over here. The Long Beach practice area is some of the busiest airspace in the world. That's not from me. That's not hyperbole. That was what I was told by a professional pilot, Brad. That's what I was told by Brad. So the practice area, like a lot of those guys are not on flight following. Enter your steep turns or maneuvers. Are you at 21 to 22? I don't even look at the RPMs. I feel it. I add a little bit as I enter. I'm picking an airspeed, 100 knots. So okay, so I come here and I clear the area again. Okay, so like, all right, we're gonna do another steep turn. Here we go. Ready? Let's get back on 150. When your hand's always on the throttle, so if you need a little bit more, just give a little squirt. All right, steep turn to the right. Steep turns in X-plane are freaking pointless.
Whoa, buddy.
Commander Keen, thank you so much for 3 months. Oh, and I talked over little whatever audio bot lady. Keen, thank you so much for the subscription. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words. That's actually that's a pretty good steep turn right there. And roll out onto 150. There's our steep turn to the right. I picked the right side to go first because that's the hardest one, so I kind of wanted to get the harder one out of the way early. SimEdge, thank you. Okay, so now we're going to go down a little bit more, and I did another couple clearing turns. So I looked to the left just to make sure no one's coming down the coast. That looked good. And then is high alpha landings a part of the Checkride? We didn't do too many make kilo approaches. Oh, SimEdge, no worries, man. I appreciate it. Okay, so now we're out here. We went offshore, like we were way offshore, by the way. He didn't seem to mind at all. Okay, 2500. Let's get back up there, and we're gonna go steep turn to the left. Okay, steep turn to the left. We got everything looking good. All right, steep turn to the left. 180 heading. So there we go. There, checking traffic. So we had a little, losing some altitude, add a little squirt of power. Did a little tiny bit, and let's roll out on our heading. There we go. Okay. So he's like, all right, that was good. Said now fly, let's fly 150 heading, and when you're ready, once the area is clear, give me a power on stall. This is no joke, okay? So I'm flying this heading, and I go, okay, power on stall. Now this in our debrief, this wasn't great, and I will explain to you as I'm doing this what I did wrong. And hopefully this will help somebody. I really hope it. I really hope it helps somebody. Let me get this thing because.
Delta 343, Los Angeles Center.
So right here, he says, "Okay, are we clear?" I look up, and there's an Airbus coming in on John Wayne arrival. I said, "I'm gonna go the other direction." He goes, "Okay, cool, sounds good." And that is this little turn right here that you can see. So you got the steep turn, right? And then coming off, and now I'm turning to the left. I'm gonna do a 180 to the left. Simedge, I had about 60, but that really wasn't when I started prepping for the Checkride. It's a long story.
Delta 343, contact Los Angeles Center 124.62.
Brad was like, man, Brad has apologized to me for me not being a 40-hour Checkride, 40-hour PPL. I was like, dude, I don't care at all. We had to wait for like 3 or 4 months for insurance stuff, so for me to solo to finish up my PIC hours. So Brad and I flew for like 3 or 4 months waiting for that.
Pull up.
New instructor.
Pull up.
Gabe, thank you so much for the follow. All right. Power on stall. In a Checkride situation, when you've got a million things going on, power on stall, what do you do on a power on stall? You have flaps are up, right? You go full power and you pitch up and you wait until the thing stalls and you come back down, right?
Las Vegas altimeter 3012.
Now, if you're missing a very important first step to that, a power on stall can get really gnarly. Lewis, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us tonight. And this was something, yeah, exactly, Ryan. Always bleed off speed down to like 60. And you can, I mean, even 70 is fine. But because of just the stress of the moment, I did not slow the plane down and then add the power. I just went, okay, power on stalled. You got it, bro. Firewall it, yank it back, and we're just like, bang. Shit. So it made it harder to keep the nose steady because you're at a much higher deck angle. So remember to slow the plane down before you enter your power on stall. This is like one of just 800 different things you got to remember before, or one of 800 things you have to remember for a Checkride, like all these little tiny things. And I went into it a little too fast. So let's just see what happens here. And I'm looking at the ball here, holding it back. This is way harder. It's way harder when you're like facing straight forward. That was terrible. I'm actually gonna try that again. But there's a good example. This is not a real plane, obviously, but that was entering the power on stall at 100 knots. So let's slow it down to 60 and see how much easier it is. Again, not a real plane, but the principle should stand. So there's even 70. Let's just do 70. Pull up. Maybe like a little bit off the side there will help keep the horizon in there.
SoCal departure says 232 Bravo with you at
still wanting to like
500.
dip that left wing. Anyway.
Maintain appropriately for altitudes, and if you could lower that volume down any more.
It was fine. It was just harder to keep the nose pointed in the right direction. You have 10 degrees either way, so as long as you're within 10 degrees in the ACS, it's fine. Well, yeah. you know, as you got 10 degrees on either side, so you basically have a 20-degree nose swing, and you're good to go. But slowing down first makes it way easier. Yeah, I know, right? I don't know why the rep pack has such a hard time with that maneuver, because I've done that before and it's just doesn't. It's all over the place. I mean, the ball's all the way to the right. I got full right rudder. You know, I don't know. It's a mess, but whatever. 2 red, 2 white. Thank you so much for the continued gifted sub. So the power off stall was even easier. So what we did is we kept it into 2 separate maneuvers, and this is right here on our track. I did one more clearing turn, which is this little guy right here, and then you can see that little kink right there is where the stall actually happened. So I did one more clearing turn. Thanks to Ryan for the OG sub. Absolutely, man. Ryan, you're the man. And we'll go back on to 330 and slowed the plane up, get the full flaps in there. And we briefed it. He says, okay, we're going to do a power off stall, and then we're going to go into slow flight, but keep it 2 separate maneuvers. I want you to clean up after the power on stall, or power off stall. So power off, holding altitude until it brakes. There it brakes. Power on.
You are on a
flaps up.
Heading restriction of 080, which it looks like you
climb
turned
out of it.
You're not
Second notch.
You're heading until ATC tells you resume on navigation when under VFR.
Flaps all the way up. Okay, so once we recovered from that, now we're making this right turn here.
Back to 080, or would you like me to?
So just to be clear, Bill, for me, you did clearing turns before each maneuver. No, I did not do clearing turns before each maneuver. We did them. I'm PIC, and I did it until I was satisfied. He did give me a couple of like, is the area clear? And I just kind of went like, it was, but I did the clearing turn anyway, just because he kind of said it, and I didn't want to take any chances. But that's something that you want to brief with the examiner, and they'll be totally fine with briefing that. Like, hey, are you a clearing turn before every maneuver? Or are you clearing turn before we start maneuvers and keep a lookout for traffic? I have heard that from multiple sources that is briefed ahead of time. So we're going to turn back on to southeast heading here. I'm trying to keep 2,500 as my altitude. That's basically where we were doing most of these maneuvers. And then we're right here in the program. So we did steep turn, right, left. We did power on stall. We did a power off stall, and now we're going to do some slow flight. He asked me what my target airspeed was going to be. Slow flight is, I have to, somebody probably knows it. Maybe Adone, maybe you know it off the top of your head, but it's an actual number, and then you've got plus 10, I believe. And it may be -5, plus 10. Consult your ACS standards, but the ACS standards for slow flight, Adone, basically you have to pick an airspeed, and if you've got a really good CFI that knows the limitations of a 172, you can fly this plane all day long at 50 knots with no problem at all. The actual number for the ACS standards gives you so much leeway that you can be at 65 and it's still legal. So I told him that I was going to be at, he was like, what speed do you have to, or what speed do you want to be at? I said, we're going to be at 60 knots. He goes, all right, sounds good. Yeah, 45 is slow. You're not going to want to be at 45 with the DPE. I said 60, and he's like, okay. The only reason I'm asking is because, you know, we need to ask. So at at 60. My altitude crept up a little bit there. But basically all you got to do is just hold 60. He goes, okay, give me a right turn, whatever. I go, okay, right turn. So I turn to the right in slow flight. And I get a standard right turn. Just keep, your hands obviously always on the throttle, so you're just keeping that airspeed. Okay, so it's -0. So I picked 60 and I just kept it at like 62. And you just, so you can say 60 is my speed. You go, okay. And if it's +10, Adon's going to check on that. You can be at 70 or 69, 68, and you're totally fine. It's ridiculous. Okay, so we're cruising along here, and okay, so now he wants, but this is debated still for some reason by DPUs. That's the idea, is that any increase in angle of attack will cause a stall. Yeah, and they made it where it's just like way conservative. I think that's probably the biggest change between PTS and ACS in terms of like what's easier or not, because this is like way simple. All right. So I'm gonna consult. So slow flight. We're at slow flight, right? What speed? 60 knots. Basic turns. Okay, yeah. So we're cruising around here, and we're gonna clean up. There might be people on the ACS, but that's right after the switch. I did it to PTS standards because that's what the examiner wanted. Okay, so we're gonna clean up, and we're gonna go into instrument flights. This is a really hard one to show on the sim, and it's not even hard. Just it's dumb. It's dumb to try to mimic this in the sim, because obviously you're. I'm not going to. So what I'm going to do is put it on autopilot and use this as kind of a little bit of a break. So let's go altitude and heading, and go to the So part of the instrument portion of this was, okay, fly heading 300 and maintain 100 knots. Okay, 300, maintain 100 knots. That's great. So we're flying along on roughly this heading. Roughly this heading right here.
Thank you, Ontario, altimeter 3004.
Ah, you know what? I screwed that up. Okay, let me backtrack a little bit. So let's pretend we're just cleaning up from slow flight. Sorry, this is part of the reason why I really wanted to do this, because it's at some point I'm gonna forget all of this altogether, and it's gonna be sad. So there are 2 oil rigs out here. That looks like an oil rig right there. Okay, so they do have one of them. So he goes, okay, go down. I want you to descend to 1,000 feet. No, here we go. Okay, it's all coming back. I'm looking at the track here. He goes, okay, so we finished slow flight. He goes, all right, do you see that ship over there? I said, yeah, I do. There's cargo ships all over the place. We're going to use this this sailboat right here. He goes, okay, we're going to do an emergency descent. That's exactly how he said it. He goes, we're going to do emergency descent. So I want you to get, we're going to be at 2,500. As soon as we're over the top of that cargo ship, pretend like it's 3 times longer than
Caution,
it is.
TFR ahead.
And that's going to be your landing zone. I want you to descend. So what I did is flew over the top of it. Now on the debrief, he said what I would recommend is making the turn to the left, so you're looking down over your window versus looking through the passenger at where the ship is. So he goes, okay, are you over? Let's see, where is that boat? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we're over it. He goes, all right, we're on fire. Get down. So I orbited over. We got a little bit fast. This is another maneuver that's pretty hard to do in this sim, because you're trying to look at a point and also glance at the speed. So we're going down to 1,000. I'm just going way too slow. And of course that sailboat's moving, so that doesn't really help the realism. Man, I have no depth perception here. Yeah, there's 1,000 feet. So that is not a great representation of what actually happened due to many factors, but basically down to 1,000 feet to that cargo ship, and I was kind of lined up to land. He goes, okay, that looks good. Go to that oil rig, and we're going to do turns around the point. Turns around a point is how he put it. We ended up doing a turn around the point because it was not bad. That was probably the maneuver that I was most happy with. Yeah, there it is. So it's not, for some reason, it's not drawing the actual oil rig. Once we get close, it might be a little bit more obvious or popping. So according to ForeFlight, there is oil rig, and you can clearly, the benefit of being over water is you can super easily see where the winds are coming. Oh yeah, there's our oil rig. Nope, that's a smudge. I guess that's it right there. Okay, so I'm going to enter with the wind behind me, and he asked a couple of questions. He said, okay, hold 1,000 feet. Fast here. This is when the simulator, at least with this plane, starts to kind of fall down in terms of its connection to the real thing, is that when you're at specific numbers, it's really hard to maintain or gauge what that is. Okay, so there is the oil rig, and we're going to do a turn around the point there. An X-plane version of that, which is just going to be a mess, but keeping off the wing. So he goes, okay, at this point, if you're downwind, how would you describe your turn? I said, if we're downwind, I'm going to have a steeper bank. He goes, okay. So we're coming back around here, and he says, okay, on the upwind, how would you describe your bank angle? I said, well, it's going to be a little bit shallower. He says, okay. Now, what if you notice that you are getting pushed towards your point? I said, well, if we're getting pushed towards it, then we're getting, that's the direction that the wind is coming from. He goes, okay, good. So we did one turn around the oil rig, and he goes, okay, cool. Take me up to. Oh no, you know what he did? Now. We're close to John Wayne. That's Huntington Beach Pier. John Wayne Airport is just right over there. He goes, okay, my controls. And I went, your controls, my controls. And we did the positive exchange of controls. And fuck! Then like I look over and he's handing me the goggles.
Caution, TFR
So I went,
ahead.
all right, Mr. DP, I gotcha. Your controls indeed. I'm gonna get climb up to 2,500. This is the point that we turned off the what do you call it? Georeferencing. So I will go into
South 1121 Los Angeles Center. Thank you. Climb and maintain level of 230.
here. So there's a turn around a point, and then we're climbing out, and then we did like a little bit of a left turn into our
Echo 779 Los Angeles Center. Thank you.
instrument flying. This one was my favorite because I was dead. Oh man, I was dead on. He's like, okay, maintain 100 knots and 2,500 feet, and we'll just say 240. I'm obviously on autopilot right here, but it was like dead on. See that altitude that's gonna bug me. It may bring itself down. So we're just at 2,500. He's fly heading 240. So I'm holding 100 knots. Is this autopilot mode on? Still, I didn't even cut off. That's what that beeping was, I guess. Altitude. Let's see if that will hold. So from here, we did
673, Roger. Establish contact tower 119.
auto rudder, like yaw damper. No yaw damper. Okay, so then he says, all right, fly Skyhawk, fly heading.
1121, contact Los Angeles Center.
What did he say? 330 or something. I think it was, or 300. Okay, fly 300. I had just a beautiful constant standard rate turn, kept 100 knots, which I know I'm at 110. There's that. And it was okay, so we flew here a little bit. I'm straight up looking at my my trace right now. So we flew in this direction for a little bit.
1121 Los Angeles Center, good evening. Climb and maintain flight level 330.
Then he says, okay, Skyhawk 53176, fly heading 18. I was 180 because it was exactly south. So I think I'm a little bit off on my headings here, but it was basically do a 180 from this heading. Oops. So I'm gonna go down to 120. Man, I was close. It looks similar, but it's not exact. Once we're on that heading, then we did a little climb. So he said, all right, Skyhawk, climb to 3,000 feet and maintain 80 knots. Is what I believe it was. Okay. Maintain 80 knots. Pitched it up.
2 Bravo Bravo, contact for California 126.7.
So we're just maintaining this heading and maintaining the airspeed.
Customize and maintain for level 240.
So there's 80. And I mean, it's so satisfying where you like maintain 80 knots and you just have it freaking pegged. And we get to 3,000 and we're good there. So level it out. Okay, and then he says, all right, Skyhawk 53176, descend and maintain 2,500. I go, all right, descend. Maintain 2,500, and he was like maintain 100 knots. I think it was 100.
2 Bravo Bravo negative. I just gave you Palm Springs altimeter 3005.
So holding at 100, bringing it down. I remember coming down really slow, and he mentioned this in the debrief that we had. My vertical speed was very slow because I had too much power in, and he said if you would just pulled out the power and lowered the nose a little bit, we would have gotten down a little bit quicker. It's like you were fine, or, it was fine, but we were descending at like 200, 300 feet per minute, and part of that was, again, there's no discounting the extra stress you have doing this. It's way easy to look at this in hindsight, but I was getting a little bit off on my heading, and as I'm correcting the heading and trying to maintain that heading, there was some wind hitting me, so I wanted to keep maintaining that heading, and I was like, okay, I'm descending, I'm at the right speed, it's just coming slow, I don't care. So I made the conscious decision to just maintain my descent rate. He mentioned that it was slow, and I was pretty fine with that. So then we turned right heading, basically 060, somewhere in there. I'm kind of glancing over that. He goes, okay, so turn heading 060. Still have the foggles on at this point. And okay, so we're cruising over here. 3004, Skyhawk 53176. Virtual GA, what's happening? Okay, so he goes, my controls, your controls, my controls. He goes, okay, we are going to do unusual attitudes. So, all right, sounds good, man. He goes, all you got to do is just get straight and level. Why do they do goggles in PPL Checkride? Because they want to make sure that if you inadvertently fly into a cloud, that you have some idea of what you're doing. Just saw your solo IRL flight today. So cool. Awesome. Virtual GAs. Well, fantastic. A couple days ago, I passed my check.
TFR ahead.
So you saw the beginning and the end of it. They're basic maneuvers, but yeah. And then we've got the unusual attitude. So he did the usual thing. Like this. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, recover. And in the foggles, I look down, I go, okay, we're facing down. I am giving it power, pulling up, wings level. There is... Oh, I just did that completely backwards. Let me do that again. Trying to do way too many things at the same time. Okay, so usual attitudes, you're looking, basically just at the attitude indicator. Okay, so there he goes. Okay, recover. You're facing down, you pull the power, pull up, wings level, and then getting into cruise. He lost a lot out this moment. All right. So then he goes, okay, my controls, your controls, my controls. He takes it back again. Now, he has to do an unusual attitude up and down. If you get an unusual attitude down first, what do you think is coming up next? So he goes, okay, recover. I go, oh look, we're facing up. Full power, lower the nose, wings level. He liked them broken down into those stages: power, pitch, and then wings level. He doesn't like mixing the pitch and the wings level at the same time. So power, pitch, and then wings. Minimums, we're doing unusual attitudes. So that I found was pretty fun. You know, it's an unusual maneuver. So there is the standards of that are very, very lax. I found just get the plane flying in the right direction. He goes, don't worry about heading, don't worry about altitude, just get the plane straight and level. So at this point, he says, all right, let's say you're at night, you've lost your GPS, what do you do? Because you have no georeferencing on the plane, GPS is down, ForeFlight doesn't have GPS, what are you going to do? I said, he goes, what are you going to, how do you know where you're at? I said, I'm going to ask approach. I'm going to ask ATC where I am. How about that? And he just laughed and he goes, all right, let's say you can't talk to them. They're not reachable. I was like, all right. On cross country, before you had your diversion to another point, did he have you fly a VOR inbound or outbound? No, we did that. We did that later, and that's actually coming up here. So he says, okay, how do you know where you're at? So I said, well, actually, because we were flying the coastal route, this is also going to be hard to do in the sim, but because we're on the coastal route, I've got LAX in my nav1. So what I would do is find out where we're at. And I'm going to be on the from radio. So I flip this thing around until we're on the from. I'm going to do this in a different order just because it's really clunky. So there's 120 from LAX. So I went into ForeFlight, I found 120, and I drew a line right there. And I was like, okay, that's good. I said, and then Catalina is 111.4. So I pulled up 111.4. He goes, how do you know that it's Catalina? Did I put that in? No, I put that in. How do you know it's the right VOR? So I went into the audio panel and I turned on the audio for it. So let's get this thing around to from, straight up and down. Let's call that 020. So there's 020. Drew the line here, went like that, and let's see, is this like that? Yeah, okay, so it doesn't seem like that, or it is not. So that's all I did. And he goes, okay, that's good. All right, I want you to intercept a radial of 330 on the LAX radial. You go, okay. So he's like, fly heading, or intercept the 330 radial, fly heading 240. So it was something like that. So we're flying this radial out. You can see it on this. this little like skinny looking thing right there, that is my intercepting a VOR radio. He goes, okay, so when are you going to turn on to the 330 radio? I said, well, when this needle is straight up and down. Okay, cool. How can you intercept the 330 radio from where you were? 300 is what I think it was 330. Yeah, well, it's the 2. Yeah, it's the 2 radio. Yeah. Yeah. How did he word that? That's a good question. Yeah. So you're right. Semantically, you're correct. And now I am second guessing what he actually said. I'm pretty sure inbound 330. Actually, yeah, you know, I don't remember what he actually said. If it was the 2 radial or the from. I'm pretty sure it was the 2. Because it was like a 30 something. But anyway, it doesn't, regardless of what it is, it's like intercept a radial. You can intercept the actual radial. Like if he says intercept the 210 radial, all right, sweet. I'm going to put 210, let's make it 150, I guess now. Intercept the 150 radial. Okay, I'm going to put the reciprocal in there because I want to turn on to 330. So, and that may have been the case. Like, okay, we're going to, that's what it was. Thank you. So it was, let's call it 150. It goes intercept the 150 radial for the LAX. I go, okay, I'm gonna intercept the 150 radial. I'm gonna put in the 330 because I want to be able to turn in on the radial and have the reciprocal. Yeah, I want the heading to match what, like if I'm off to the right, I want to turn in left to intercept the radial and not have it be reverse sensing. So I talked through him. Thank you. This is why I wanted to do this, because yeah, it's exactly. And I talked through that. Okay, when the needle is straight up and down, you know, I'm going to turn on to the radio. And it was, we're way off here. So 330 is too far, and it's not really coming alive too much. So at this point, he goes, okay, that's good. My controls. Oh God, okay. Your controls, buddy. So we flew, we turned back the other direction. You know what? I don't think he actually did take me up the controls at this point. No, but we did do a 180. We did do a 180 come back the other direction. Get this ready.
Las Vegas approach. Thanks for X-ray. Descend via KPX 6 arrival. Expect visual approach from my 26 left. November 8422 Delta Point McGill approach. Oxnard altimeter 3007.
Right. Okay, we're gonna fly in this heading for a little bit. This is
info report inbound, final approach course.
This little, come on, that little like hot dog looking thing over on the left. I don't know if you can see that. The yellow It's in yellow. It's over on the left side. This is really being annoying. That thing right in the middle. You can see going, you know, out to the left. Little. Look at the yellow. That looks what it is. Very disproportionate phallic symbol there. So at this point, he goes, "Okay, you can take your foggles off," and I was blinded because I had to take
Caution.
off my sunglasses. So if you remember below minimums when I commented on being blinded by taking off my foggles, this was the moment. I think I said, "Oh yeah, I've done that before." I had my sunglasses off, I took off the foggles, I look out and just like, just get blasted. I'm a sneaky little fucker, huh, Ryan? He took the controls here. He goes, "Okay, my controls, your controls, my controls." Okay. So we get up, we climb out, takes us a little bit closer. He's just kind of like setting us up here. He wanted to be in a very particular position for this. You can probably guess what is going to happen next. Let me get to 2,500.
VGHFO, thank you. Contact Lemonade Tower 121.2.
So he gives me the controls back. He goes, "Your controls, my controls, your controls." He goes, "All right, engine's out." I went, "All right." I go, "First thing I'm gonna do," and I mean, this part I felt pretty good about this. All right, we're gonna go best airspeed. He's like, "Okay, what's best glide in this plane?" 68 knots. He's like, "All right, what's next?" Look for the best place to land. And I look around. I go, "Okay, we're not close enough to any airports, so we're gonna have to make a forced off-field landing. The beach is really loose sand. That's not a good spot. I am going to land on PCH, and it was this exact stretch right here. It's a very wide stretch of PCH that's not very busy, and I know it pretty well." He goes, "Okay, then what?" I go, "Well, then I'm going to communicate to SoCal, let them know we have an emergency, and go to my checklist." He's like, "Okay, what do you say to SoCal?" "SoCal approach, Skyhawk 53176, declaring an emergency. We have 2 souls on board, about 2.5 hours of fuel. We're going to make an emergency landing on PCH between Huntington Beach and Seal Beach. We'll report when we're on the ground." He goes, "Okay, good, sweet." Cessna, what's up, dude? Thank you very much, man. He's like, "All right, which direction are you going to land on PCH?" And I look out the window, and there are some container ships out here, and you can see that the wind was heading in this direction, kind of at like a little bit of an angle right there. It's heading in this direction. And I said, "Well, I am going to land this direction on PCH because it's just a little bit into the wind. So I'm gonna basically be on a downwind right now, and land into the wind right on PCH." He goes, "Okay, good." Gives me power back. He goes, "Take me back to John Wayne." Okay. Watch my recap video if you're interested in what actually happens next. But we're going to do the weather is good version of what happens next. Thank you, Rigorian. Thank you so much, man. So did you go into detail on the difficulties? Oh, watched a bit of your stream after getting Checkride completed. Did you go into detail on the difficulties? Yes, I went into, yeah. That was pretty thorough. Channel points to change the weather. Dude, you don't want to see me land in a 15 or 17 knot quartering tail wind. Okay, let's get the weather here.
Visibility 10, 17,000 scattered. Temperature 19er.
30 Delta, contact Circle Approach 134.2.
Arriving at
050 below
20 right. Visual approaches in use. TFR departures. Contact clear.
Emergency Delta contact for California 134.2.
Is requested. Read backhaul runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information India.
Okay, thanks. Information India.
John Wayne Airport, 8 to...
SoCal approach, Skyhawk 53176, approaching Huntington Beach Pier with information India, heading back to John Wayne.
Good 53176, roger. And you said you have India, correct?
Affirmative, we have information India, 53176.
So 176, thank you.
Richard, thank you, ma'am. I know it's still
Oh,
fresh,
go away.
but are there any ambitions for a trip to the airport in the sky? Goldsy, I hope you're still working terminal. If you are, I would like crossing over the control tower at or above 1,300 feet for a left downwind for runway 20 left. If you're...
clearance approach runway 26 left, established final contact tower 119.9er.
Rigorian, we were just there February 8th. Brad, Julia, my best friend Chad from back home in Seattle, we went there on my birthday, February 8th, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Caution, TFR ahead.
Nobody cares about that TFR. Alright, we don't need four flight anymore. So we'll get that out of the way. Yeah, that's a Disneyland TFR that SoCal really does not care about. Really, if you're on flight following them, you not, but four flight still yells at you for it. SoCal approach, Skyhawk 53176, we have John Wayne in sight.
Skyhawk 176, thank you. Target picked up, handoff, contact John Wayne Tower 126.8.
126.8, Skyhawk 53176, yeah. SimEdge, I don't, but if you're in the Discord, there are a few people that are in the Seattle area, and we might be able to figure something out. John Wayne Tower, Skyhawk 53176, information India, inbound, Huntington Beach Pier.
53176, John Wayne Tower. Good evening. Cross overhead the field, enter left downwind, runway 20 left.
Alright, we'll cross overhead the field, enter left downwind, 20 left, Skyhawk 53176. We're going to be closed traffic as well.
Roger.
At or below, no, at or above 1,300 feet over the control tower and left downwind. So how to replicate this? I'm just going to make a normal landing, and then we're going to taxi back and then start over from the finish up portion. Goldsy, I always wave whenever I cross the control tower or I'm like taxiing when you're there. I just like, you know, here's... Okay, so I guess Goldsy Cam doesn't wink yet. I love Goldsy Cam though. That's normal bill for that approach into John Wayne. Yeah, from Huntington Beach Pier, this is what you'll get 9 times out of 10. Cross over the control tower at or above 1,300. Enter left downwind 20 left. So we're gonna make this a normal landing. Pretend like Checkride is paused at this point. We're gonna make a normal landing and taxi back, and then we'll start.
Charlie Sierra, San Luis Tower, make straight in runway 29er and report a 3-mile final.
Straight in runway 29, we report 2 miles.
Is Brad still going to be around? Brad is going to be absolutely around. Absolutely. Well, Jeff. Okay, that's a good point, Jeff. I'll tell you exactly. I'll tell you exactly where we were. Here's Goldsy Cam. Hi, Goldsy. There's my wing rock here. Okay, so I'm reporting winds 150 at 9.
Refine 3176 from my 20 left, clear for the option 1 close traffic, improve report midfield departure.
Alright, clear for the option 20 left. We'll report midfield each time. Skyhawk 53176. Okay, so here. Did he say hi, Bill?
79 Las Vegas Tower. Wind is calm. Runway 26 left.
So this was supposed to be soft field. So coming back, so after all of that, we got soft field, right? Coming in, 65 knots. Everything's super happy.
Santa Maria ground, this is Skyhawk 448 Romeo Alpha on the east ram. Be approach departure to the east with Golf and for Cat 5 rating.
First 448 Romeo Alpha, Santa Maria ground, or runway 30 taxi.
I'm going to try something here.
Runway 30 taxi via Victor Alpha, 448 Romeo Alpha.
No, he does not. Jolly Tower, Skyhawk 53176. Is there any other traffic inbound or in the pattern for 20 left?
Negative.
Roger, we're going to pause briefly for a weather update right over the 405 and then unpause on short final Skyhawk 53176.
Gotcha, no problem.
Okay, so coming in 65, right? I'm 65, flaps full, and freaking, this is super not draggy at all.
Short final runway 20 left at Kilo Sierra November Alpha. Warning, airport not in current route.
Yeah, I know, I don't care for a flight. Okay, so right here is where I get the call that the winds are now, let's change the winds to what they were at the time. Let's say, here we go. Winds are 1-1. Gusts are, I guess 6 plus 6. So there's 170. 050. Wind shear. There was wind shear. I don't know what the degree was. I'm just going to leave that there. What's up, EXO? So there's that. I'm going to give myself a little bit less altitude here. Altitude is at 250. I'm going to go 175 right there. Okay, so that's about where you're at. And we now have the new winds. Thank you, EXO. Here we go. Yeah, Ryan, this is going to be completely jacked.
Hey,
I am dialed in.
Buddy.
EXO Zeke, thank you very much for the subscription, man. Welcome aboard. Thank you. So I'm like, I got through all the maneuvers. We're back at John Wayne. We're doing pattern work. I'm good to go. I don't hear 050, but I hear 9, or I hear 11, and I hear gusts 17. So I'm nervous, but I'm like, I got this. I can do this. I've passed, but this is where I failed. Right here, with a 17 knot gust on short final. I don't know how this is going to work.
Still 779E, affirmative, cross from my 26, right at Alpha 6, terminal via Bravo, monitor ground, point 1. Cross 26.
So there's 65 knots.
And terminal via Bravo, monitor ground, point 1.
60 knots. 050. Just like I'm going nothing miles an hour. Nothing. Well, I guarantee you it was a little bit more dramatic than that. But yeah, ground speeds were over the fence. My ground speed was 88 knots. That was not good. So okay. Yeah, so Jeff, when I was coming in to do my first landing back at John Wayne, the winds went from 150 at 9. They shifted to 050 at 11, gusting 17 within the 4 minutes that I picked up the units.
3422 Delta,
You
Burbank
checked
Tower,
in a
wait
172
0 at
rather than the
runway
Archer.
8,
Yeah,
clear to
I am
landing.
in the.
Runway 8,
I
clear to
moved to a
landing,
172. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know. You're telling me, Jeff. But it worked out in the end. It's fine. But it was definitely a learning experience. John Wayne Tower, Skyhawk 53176, clear of 20 left at Hotel, taxi back.
53176, runway 20 left, taxi via Charlie Kilo.
Charlie Kilo, 20 left, Skyhawk 53176. I just landed, winds were 260, 230, 15 gusting 32. Holy cow. Yeah, that's exciting. Got pushed off the runway when we took off. Yeah, so, I mean, it definitely wasn't gusting 32, but when you're trying to hit ACS standards on a soft field landing for your Checkride, a 17 knot quartering tailwind is not doing you any favors, I promise you that. So that sucks. All right, so let's pretend that was a normal landing and now we're starting over again. So we have left to do, we've got we did the soft field takeoff at Long Beach. I forgot to do it, but let's pretend like we did it. 88 knots over the fence. Yeah, not friendly at all. My airspeed was 65, but my ground speed was 88. So what we have to do left is a short field takeoff, short field landing, regular landing. Well,
163 Charlie.
I won't mention regular landings, but or takeoffs, but we need to do regular takeoffs. So short field takeoff, short field landing, soft field landing, and then no flap with a slip landing and my securing checklist. Those are the 5 things that are left to do here. So we're gonna do
just let me know when you have that
the short field landing here. This is gonna replicate what I just did on Tuesday.
I'm not sure how to this.
It's gonna be 4 laps.
I can find this.
Yeah, so I cannot put the Cat 1 rating in for you, and that needs to be in before I can submit the Cat 2. So on the PilotEdge homepage to the Cat 1 rating page, close to the bottom, Cat 1 claim form. That's what you need to fill out there.
Oh, affirmative. Thank you.
And we're going to use this coloration right here is my landing marker.
Affirmative. Thank you.
So that's what we're aiming for.
Burbank Tower, November 8422 Delta, clear of the runway at
okay, so this is a short field.
Number 8422 Delta, Roger. Delta to Atlantic, remain this frequency. It's a pass for the Caddy.
Remain this frequency, 8422 Delta, thanks for the Caddy.
John Wayne Tower, Skyhawk 53176, holding short 20 left at Kilo.
53176, John Wayne Tower, hello again. Make left, close traffic, report midfield downwind. Runway 20 left at Kilo, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 20 left at Kilo. We'll call you midfield, Skyhawk 53176. Lights, camera, action. We're going to use
approaching
this
runway 20
discoloration
left
as the end of the runway, so we need all of the runway we can get.
Entered runway 20 left.
Go
2,500 feet remaining.
And just get right up to the edge. We don't want to go over that edge, but we want to get right up to it. That's good. And then turn on to the center line. X-plane ground handling is not going to do us any favors. All right, so lined up here, flaps 10, full power. Check the what are you doing? Check, so we're green, 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 green. Release the brakes. Oh my God! What the hell was that? I was totally off both brakes. All right, we're gonna just somehow. Oh my God! What was that? Okay. Full power. It just goes it just yanks to the left. Fantastic. Okay. That's better. Jesus Christ. Okay, airspeed is alive. 55. We're gonna pop up. 50-foot obstacle. So I'm going to hold 62 knots until the departure end of the runway. That's about 62. And we're clear. We're going to lower the nose a little bit, get the flaps up, clean it up, turn on to my offset upwind. Get up to VY. Okay, turning onto the downwind here. Austin says there's nothing wrong with the ground handling yet, except you can ground loop apparently a tricycle gear 172 on this short field. Yeah, I fixed the wing. Yeah, or the wind. We're back on real world.
Sorry, ground Cessna 163 Charlie Serra. I have been graduated as Caddy 1.
163 Charlie Sierra, Roger, and the category, or the story
is 850 pattern altitude.
Thank you so much.
Eagle, Austin is wrong.
You too.
Jolly Tower, Skyhawk 53176, midfield, left downwind 20 left.
53176, from 20 left, clear to the option.
Cleared option 20 left, Skyhawk 53176. Short field. So I made a point, and we're talking a good amount on this because it's important to know what is coming up next, but not too far in advance. So he's like, don't worry about what we're gonna do. We'll brief it on the downwind. Like, just do the takeoff, finish the takeoff that you're doing, and we'll talk about it. So you don't have to remember what we're doing. I went, okay, cool. So that was nice. He was cool about that. So we're gonna be discoloration is our landing zone, and we are
caution. TFR ahead.
200 feet beyond the touchdown point for ACS standards. It's pretty generous, honestly. The airspeeds on the rep pack are just not good for these specific maneuvers. It's not really that close. You're basically power off 180 if you want to maintain any resemblance of the pattern that you normally fly. So I'm power off right now. In reality, I was on the power curve pretty much the whole way down to maintain
short final runway 20 left at Kilo Sierra November Alpha.
David,
warning,
I'm going to read
airport
that.
not
Just
in current route.
So we're at 50 knots right there on the power curve, and the plane is totally fine. We're sinking about what you would normally. This feels like it's the sink that you would get at 60 knots. So I'm going to lower the nose. We're still showing 4 white. We know we can high alpha this thing in there, so that's fine. But there's the discoloration. That's my landing point. I wasn't actually at 55 knots, but it looked like basically like this. Hold it off, power idle, down before the second stripe, and that is a pretty nice short field landing. I easily made Juliet, which was good. He liked that I actually hit the brakes. He said that a lot of students are so used to saying or doing simulated max braking. He's like, this is not simulated, you actually did it, and that was really good. So he was happy about that. The light's coming off. John Wayne Tower, Skyhawk 53176, clear of 20 left at Juliet, taxi back.
Skyhawk 176, runway 20 left, taxi, Charlie Kilo.
Charlie Kilo 20 left, Skyhawk 53176. David, decided to attempt the Cat 6 today, descended too soon and lost sight of Mojave, found myself south of the airport, wrong side, made an acceptable landing on 30. Problem was I was told 26. Looks like I have a lot of practice. Well, David, that's totally fine, man. That happens. That's the best part about PilotEdge, is you can make mistakes like that. Doesn't mean anything. Load up, try it again, and get it the next time. Goldsy, thank you so much. I meant everything and more in that little tiny write-up. Goldsy, for those of you that are just joining or don't know, was the first controller on PilotEdge that I had over a year ago, I guess now, or maybe more than that. I don't know. Whatever it was, 2 years ago. whatever it was. I think it was 2 years ago. Good Lord. And Goldsy is absolutely fantastic. PilotEdge is awesome, but especially Goldsy. So thank you, Goldsy, for being a huge part of me getting my private pilot's license, because you really were a huge part of it. I didn't solo at John Wayne with under 6 hours for no reason. It was directly related to you, and that's huge. Okay. John Wayne Tower, Skyhawk 53176, holding short 20 left at Kilo.
Skyhawk 176,
Awesome.
confirm you're remaining in the pattern.
Affirmative, yeah, we're going to do a few more laps. Skyhawk 53176. I can't wait, Goldsy.
Skyhawk 176, below clear traffic approved, report installation time, wind 2303, runway 20 left at Kilo, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 20 left at Kilo, we'll call you midfield, Skyhawk 53176. Lights, camera, action. Yeah, I can't wait
Approaching
to start
runway 20 left.
You, Goldsy. That'll be fun. But yeah,
Entered runway 20
Marcus is
left.
the one that
2,500 feet remaining.
We just appreciate it if you let us know prior to you doing that. Go ahead and contact Baker's Little Perch 11820.
Okay, there's full power.
Bill's one of my favorite guys to yell at.
Marcus gave me some freaking sass, though. That's for sure. Okay, brakes on. Climbing out.
Oh, go away.
Virtual GAs. Yeah, IFR is next for sure, and then we'll see from there. That's the only real plan I have. Okay, so there is the altitude that I want to turn onto downwind. DP gave me a little bit of a tip. John Wayne, stop here, lift up the wing a little bit, and then continue onto the downwind. Names is classic too, yeah. I don't call you names. I loaded up at Ontario, and Goldsy was controlling, and I called Ontario Tower John Wayne Tower, and that's where that soundbite came from. I don't call you names. That's the most Canadian Goldsy sounds in the clips. You may just be timed out. No?
I don't call you names.
John Wayne Tower, Skyhawk 53176, midfield left downwind, 20 left. So this is soft field. I let the altitude creep up a little bit.
448 Romeo Alpha with Bakersfield Tower. Did you get a handoff from Approach to contact me?
Yeah, F-bomb is great. Yeah, Goldsy was controlling when Julia soloed.
Tower. Did you get a handoff from Bakersfield Approach to contact me?
I have not. Here, Romeo Alpha.
Romeo
Caution,
Alpha,
TFR ahead.
go back to the
Virtual
brief
GAs,
frequency
thank you,
you're
man.
on.
Have a great night.
Affirm.
John Wayne Tower, Skyhawk 53176, left base, 20 left.
Clark 17, thank you very much. 20 left.
Cessna Skyhawk
Third option, 20 left,
204.
Skyhawk 53176.
Skyhawk 18 Golf.
Gus Bus, upgrade to big planes yet? Not really. No, we're still gonna fly little planes for a while. There's definitely gonna be some big planes, bigger planes in the future. Two in particular. There are two larger planes that are gonna be coming up that I do have somewhat of a connection with, that I'm excited to fly on PilotEdge. King Air and Citation. So we're gonna probably do some fun stuff with that. This is soft field, by the way. No landing, no landing constraints with this one. Just get it down and so keep the nose up. There, now the nose is down. Keep the back pressure going. TBM is sweet. but I am going to go with the King Air and the Citation. And Brad will be involved. And we are off the runway. Almost off the taxiway too. We're gonna try to handle it. We're gonna have some potential real-world King Air action. Johnny Tower, Skyhawk 53176, clear 20 left at Juliet, taxi back.
Skyhawk 176, runway 20 left, taxi, Charlie Kilo.
Charlie Kilo, 20 left, Skyhawk 53176. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the Coronado one. I don't know yet. Finbar. I'm not sure. I have a picture of the plane, Finbar.
Here's 2 Bravo Bravo contact.
It's pretty awesome. If you guys know what Raisbeck is, it's a Raisbeck King Air 200. It's a Raisbeck Epic King Air 200 is the plane. So I haven't really looked into it at all. The Raisbeck one is a very specific type of King Air.
San Luis ground, Skyhawk 163 Charlie Sierra.
It's a pretty insane plane. The AFL King Air and the Hotstar TBN are both amazing. Yeah, I mean the TBN just sounds like it's freaking awesome. But the yeah, King Air, I'm gonna want to get pretty familiar with that plane.
163 Charlie Sierra, performance K3 rating.
Like, I need to get really familiar with that plane. Are there any King Air 200s in X-Plane? I honestly haven't looked. It would be awesome if there was, but yeah, if you guys want to look up a badass plane, Raisbeck Epic King Air 200.
November 448 Romeo Alpha, Los Angeles Center, how do you read?
AFL is 350. Okay, that might be close enough. Coronado has the 200, but just don't. Yeah, if the 350 is close enough, that might be the way to go. Okay, so another normal landing, and then we're going to do a no flap with a slip. The Coronado King Air 200, I've been flying for around 800 hours now. And is it okay, Finbar? I mean, I don't know really the differences between the 300, the 350, and the 200 to really know what, to be that specific. It flies. Jolly Tower, Skyhawk 53176, holding short 20 left at Kilo.
Skyhawk 176 left, correction, left clear traffic approved, runway 20 left at Kilo, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 20 left at Kilo, Skyhawk 53176. Lights, camera, action. Why? No, I'm talking about more of the actual the King Air itself. Like, I don't know enough about it yet to know
2,500 feet remaining.
To learn as much about a King Air 200 as possible, how different a 350 is to a Raisbeck Epic 200. Okay, everything is green. Center line is not in the middle, but we're good. Okay, so the last landing we have to do is a no flap with a slip. Now, we did do a go around before any of these landings. So before the soft field, we did a go around. I'm not going to replicate that. We're just going to do landings.
20 miles northwest of Okeiko intersection. It's on Victor 386. At maintain flight level 240.
The shadow looks awesome. I think the avionics might be a consideration too.
Cessna 176, runway 20 left, clear for the option.
Clear for the option, 20 left, Skyhawk 53176. Well, let's put it. I'm going to put a pin in that, and then we'll get this done. We'll go back to that. Eyes, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Eyes, you've been hanging out for a long time, and I really appreciate that. So, thank you, sir. Okay, so no flaps. You really have to control the speed with a pitch. So I've pulled back the power, beamed the numbers like usual, trimmed up. I'm gonna have to pretty much go power idle this whole way. Gus Bus. I honestly, I don't know. There's a couple of planes that I want to be more familiar with that are not there. But the biggest plane that I'll probably be flying with any consistency is going to be the Citation. So.
Go ahead.
The key with this one, because you need a slip, is you actually have to be high. So you can easily get this plane on glide slope with no flaps, but because he wants to see the slip, you have to actually kind of fly a pattern that gets you a little bit higher. So I went, because the winds were a little bit off my right
runway
nose,
20 left at Kilo Sierra November Alpha. Warning,
left
airport
rudder,
not in current route.
Right aileron. And that was about it. Captain Stryker, thank you so much for the subscription. Welcome. And once you did like a little bit of a slip, you're fine, and I just managed the speed best I could. This is gonna just be hauling ass, because this is apparently the most aerodynamic 172 on the planet.
Who's calling airport in Montgomery?
Now, in reality, the ACS wants you to be within 400 feet of your landing zone on that one.
If it's not picking up, we're just requesting the CSTP 39.
But that wasn't going to happen, obviously. Did I not go idle on that? I thought I went full idle.
Right. Bravo Echo 58 flight golf.
Bet you can smell the paint already. Oh, Finbar. Oh, I love it, dude. I can't wait to see it, man. It's going to look so awesome.
Skyhawk 163 Charlie Serra, midfield downwind runway
1300. Yeah. I felt like I was getting too slow. 1300 is way too much. But Chowing Tower, Skyhawk 53176, clear of 20 left at hotel to the right side. We're taxiing back to ACI West.
Skyhawk 176, taxi to parking via hotel. And Bravo, cross runway 20 right at hotel, monitor ground 132.25.
Alright, crossing 20 right at hotel, taxi to parking via Hotel Bravo, Skyhawk 53176 monitor ground. Have a great night. Okay, so we got the strobes on.
Number 3 Charlie Sierra, runway 29 clear for the option.
Approaching runway 02 left, 20 right. Entered runway 02 left, 20 right.
For 171 Mike Alpha, clear to Montgomery Airport on departure, fly runway heading till reaching 800 feet, then a left turn heading 200, radar vector sector 23, Mission Bay, direct, maintain 3,000, expect 5,000, 1 minutes.
All right, we got
frequency
taxi instructions. We're gonna monitor ground. We're gonna turn the strobe off. We don't have to stop since we got taxi instructions straight into parking, which I actually got on the Checkride, and the DP says, "Wait, did you get approval to taxi?" I go, "Yeah, he cleared me taxi to parking via Bravo." He goes, "Oh, okay." So that was pretty funny.
Mike Alpha, read back direct, thank you.
SimEdge, no problem, man. I appreciate it, dude.
XACAM.
Hey, bird, buddy.
Finbar, thank you so much for the gifted sub to Richard. Finbar, appreciate it. 23, man. That's awesome. Finbar, how long have you been watching, been hanging out? Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up for video-wise. That is that was my check ride. I didn't do as good a job as I maybe would have liked at recapping everything. You know, it was a week ago for some of it, and I kind of got turned around on the order of some things, but basically that was it. I covered everything that we did, and since your second stream, I think so, Finbar. That's insane. But that was the flight portion of the check ride, and it, you know, didn't fully go as planned, but ultimately it was kind of fun. It was very stressful. I wouldn't do it again if I had to in a million years, but looking back on it, it was pretty cool to be able to go through all those maneuvers within standards with the examiner in there with all that stress and pressure. It's super fulfilling, as you can imagine, obviously. So the last thing that I did was just do the secure checklist, which if you have ever flown a 172, it's like 3 things. So I felt weird only doing a couple of things and like added a couple of my own to the list just so I was like a little bit busier. I packed everything up, and the examiner actually mentioned, he's like, so not a whole lot of flight school planes get the treatment this one does. Like I park the plane here at ACI, and like the line guys come and fill the plane up and take it back into the hangar. It's freaking crazy. It's unbelievable. Are you learning to actually fly in real life? Have already learned. Yeah, Gus, I got my private pilot certificate on Tuesday. So that is what we're just going over. All right, YouTube, thank you very much for watching. If you want to join live, please join us on Twitch, and you can be one of these crazy knuckleheads over here on the right hand side. It's super fun interacting with chat live. So thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. If you got to this point on YouTube, God bless you. Like, that's freaking amazing. That is, I mean, it's amazing that you guys have on Twitch have watched this whole freaking thing. It floors me to think about that. But yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, let me know if you did get to this point, because you deserve like a round of applause. So thank you guys. Have a good night or day or whenever you're watching this, and peace.